Howdy do y'all, this is John, and today we are talking about Dr. No, a movie from 1962 starring Sean Connery that started the now iconic James Bond franchise. And in Dr. No, it deals with the iconic spy James Bond, who was sent to Jamaica to basically investigate the disappearance of this MI6 agent stationed there. But in doing so, he uncovers a conspiracy involving a local scientist named Dr. No and his connection to the terrorist organization Spectre. And thus we have a movie. Now getting into it, Dr. No. This is a movie that's definitely hampered a little bit by its low budget, but with what they were able to make work, it has strongly stood the test of time. Now, starting off with what I liked about the movie, first and foremost, the story for this film, you can definitely see how it's impacted cinema since. The movie kind of crafted the standard spy thriller story. You have an MI6 agent, James Bond, 007. He gets sent out to investigate something or someone. Conspiracy gets, revealed. Now he has to put an end to it. Back in 1962, this was actually brand new. Spy thrillers were something you only saw in novels, like the 007 novels, which this is based on one of them, Dr. No, which I think is like the fourth or fifth book in the series. I can't exactly remember. There's been a lot, but long story short, you just did not see this in movies a whole lot. Heck, the previous attempt to bring James Bond onto the big screen, which was by Sony, they were going to adapt Casino Royale, but they were going to change him to a mobster instead of a spy. They weren't even able to film it, and it kind of makes them, that change kind of makes them look bad. But with this movie, Eon and MGM were just like, hey, let's just make a movie about a spy. Which, like I said, that just hadn't exactly been done before. They didn't know if it would be successful, but it worked for them. Because now, well, we've had like 25 Bond movies. We've had a lot. Now, as far as acting goes, I cannot exactly judge Ursula Andress too much, because unfortunately they dubbed over her voice with someone else. I don't know why, but they did. However, when it comes to the lead himself, Sean Connery, there is a reason why Connery is considered the best actor to portray James Bond. And even someone like me who grew up with Daniel Craig, and Craig is my second favorite Bond, but my favorite is Sean Connery. There's just something about the way Connery presents himself as he is playing James Bond that works so well for the character, few people can compare. Now, is this his best performance as Bond? In my opinion, that's in Goldfinger. I'll get to that when I get to my Goldfinger review. But when it comes to this movie, with his star as James Bond, he does a dang good job. And speaking of Bond himself, Bond is a great character. Not necessarily the best role model, but he is a great character. Bond possesses a lot of the, strengths that a spy needs. He's highly intelligent. He knows his ways around firearms. He is physically a force to be reckoned with. But he's also a human being. He has character flaws. One of them, we all know, he likes his ladies. we all know that character flaw. But the good with Bond outweighs the bad. And sometimes his character flaws as the series goes on do come back and bite him in the butt a little bit. Again, I'll get to one of those when I get to that video, that review. Is he still a victim of his time? A little bit. This was the 1960s. Things were different back then. But we shouldn't, attack him too much for that. Especially considering that's mild compared to other cases I've seen. And in terms of the action in the movie, while it's not top tier Bond action, Bond combat, it is still, something that's stood the test of time a little bit. Now, obviously, there's more to a Bond movie than action and combat. But when they do happen, it's supposed to be exciting, thrilling, and it is. Some hokey visual effects aside, you're excited and thrilled whenever action or combat occurs, like a car chase. In terms of problems with the movie, the fact that this was a low-budget movie, it shows quite a bit. As I mentioned, there were some hokey visual effects in the movie. You can clearly notice the rear projection shots in the movie. The miniatures and models all look like toys. I'm not kidding. They do. And a little bit of stock footage is in the film is extremely noticeable. On top of that, they have very little money to build sets, and while some look good, considering what little money they had, others, like Dr. No's evil laboratory, or whatever the heck that was, look pretty bad. Huge, wide open space, and it all looks like styrofoam, cardboard, and there's not a lot filling it in. As I mentioned earlier, spy thrillers were new back then, and unfortunately, the investors only gave the producers a little over $1 million to make the film. That may sound a lot, but by this point, most movies had a budget 4 or 5 times that much. So they were working with only a little bit of money, at least compared to the average Hollywood film at the time. So yeah, while it might not be as, low budget and crude as Night of the Living Dead, it was low budget and crude compared to other Hollywood films at the time. And just like with Night of the Living Dead, it shows horribly sometimes. But that one exception aside, this has definitely been a well-aged movie, especially from a storytelling perspective, because it, not only set the bar for what spy thrillers should be, but also introduced a iconic character in a film that still managed to be entertaining and thrilling over 60 years later. And at the end of the day, would I recommend this film? My answer is yes. If you have not seen Dr. No yet, I recommend watching this movie. If you have not seen a Sean Connery Bond film, while this may not be his best Bond movie, it is at least still a great way of introducing yourself to this variant of the character. I'm going to give Dr. No an 8. In case anyone's wondering why I'm now reviewing the Sean Connery Bond movies, it is because we have a new Bond video game coming out real soon, and I've decided as a way of celebrating or commemorating it as it is getting ready to release, I'm going to finally talk about the Connery Bond movies. Now, not all of them are good. I will throw that out there. Not all of them are good. But I really want to talk about the Connery era Bond movies. And I think this is probably the perfect time to do that. Well, that's all the time I have for today. Please look forward to more videos real soon. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Please also subscribe if you're new to the channel. Please don't forget, I have a secondary channel where we do gaming content. Please go check it out. And as per usual, please remember the Badetsky order.